We're back. Knowles.
Hey, there you are.
I feel like only yesterday since I saw you.
Well, Drew, I got to tell you, I'm really pleased that we hang out now the night after I go on Fox and Friends at 4 in the morning. Because then, you know, when I'm out with you the night before, I speak in cursive on TV. But when I'm out with you last night, we get to catch up on Politicon and all the craziness of yesterday.
That's true. It was kind of crazy, I got to say. And we got to celebrate. Another Kingdom's doing well. People are showing
It's
up.
doing great. I'm shocked.
No, it's a great story.
No, I'm not shocked because of that. I knew the story was great because season 1 did very well.
Yep.
And now this one is even cooler. I mean, obviously all of the sets and the art and everything is cooler, but even the story is so hard charging. It's actually different than the first season. I mean, it actually gives you something quite different. The character changes, the story advances. It's really, really cool. So I'm pleased that it's doing that well. I'm just shocked that Hollywood and big technology haven't shut us down.
It is kind of amazing. They don't know what we're doing yet. So I think listen, this is the revolution. This is the I consider myself at my age. I consider myself the Ben Franklin of the Cultural Revolution. You know, I'm old. I doze off from time to time, but I still
written
matter.
A lot of things. Yeah.
I still have something to say. And
those
do
poor
think
women in France probably have a lot of stories to tell them. I don't know. I'm maybe too many similarities.
No, I mean I think this is an important stuff, and I think people are getting it, and it's just a good story. I mean, and you're doing a great job. So that's the nicest thing I'm going to say about you.
Thanks. Yeah, geez, this is great.
So you did a lot more than me at Politicon. I had a really fun, we all did a panel together. We did a Daily Wire panel, and I had a fun panel with Ann Coulter and Dan Bongino, and Kane, the wrestler Kane, who's now a mayor. So he was, I think when you're sitting with, I mean, Bongino is ripped. And Kane is the size of a building. Like I felt a little bit like I was hoping Ann Coulter would protect me if anything happened. You know?
That is true. Ann can just melt left-wing men with her stare. You know.
I got to tell you one story before you start. Ann and I went out for drinks afterwards, and we walk out, and the two security guys are walking with her, and Ann is the sweetest human being on earth, and like everybody loves her, and of course the guys are just fall at her feet, and we get out, and one of the security guards is telling her that he's a singer. You know, he's trying to be L.A. Everybody wants to be something. He wants to be a singer. And she said, really? And he starts singing a love song to her. And he's great. I mean, he was just terrific. And we're standing outside of the L.A., what's the name of that building?
The Convention Center.
The Convention Center. Yeah. And this security guard is singing to Ann Coulter this love song. And it was just great. It was a great moment. What were your panels? You got on some good ones, though.
So they threw me on these left-wing panels. You got to hang out with Ann Coulter, and that sounds great. You know, they threw me on these left-wing panels, and then my one right-wing panel, they made me wear a dress. So
you were very fetching.
It was the sexy Handmaid's Tale costume. I don't know what was sexy about it, but that's what they told me. So they had me on these two other panels with lefties. The first one was How the Bleep Do We All Get Along? And that was fun. A couple right-wingers. I was there with Charlie Kirk and Roaming Millennial. And then there were these left-wing guys, Kyle Kulinski, who's a YouTube guy, and Bakari Sellers, who's the one who said that Kanye West is what happens when Negroes don't read books on CNN.
Yeah.
So, you know, it skewed a little bit. They were certainly on the left. And then I was on this other comedy panel with a bunch of, I don't know how I made it onto that panel, being a non-comedian. I think it's because I wrote a blank book.
You know, it is kind of strange. I mean, Michael Loftus, who was an actual comedy writer,
like a really
comedian,
good
he was in the house, you know, and of course Crowder could have come. I don't know if he was unavailable, but like, what? They put you on alone with?
No, they had Roaming Millennial was there too, but she's so nice, you know. I'm not nice, so they had me on these panels, and you know, I was pretty amazed because I found that some conservatives tried to be really conciliatory.
Yeah.
They tried to say, oh, well, we agree with this and that, and, you know, yeah, we can let prisoners out of jail, and yeah, we can, you know, that kind of trying to find middle ground in certain libertarian areas. I'm not interested in conciliation. I'm not interested in that at all. The right is finally winning, and I see no reason to give any credence to these left-wingers who are saying, oh, look, we're just trying to get along. Hey, guys, go storm Mitch McConnell's house. Yeah. Hey, guys, assault them in the street. They're not trying to get along.
And we have this big advantage that our policies work.
That's right.
I mean, my folks were lifelong Democrats, but after Giuliani came in and cleaned up New York, they voted for it. They thought, oh my gosh, the streets are safe, the business is booming, everything's going great. They voted for his reelection. Of course they did, because people aren't stupid. They see what works, and our policies actually work.
That's right, and we finally got the left on the ropes. I mean, their policies are indefensible where they have policies at all. So far, it seems to just amount to hashtags and slogans and abolish law enforcement or something. So we've got them on the ropes on policy. We've got them on the ropes electorally. They should be killing it in this election. This should be a blue wave, and it doesn't look to be a blue wave from the polling. So we should double down here, because the other thing I found is, one, those lefty guys can get pretty vicious.
I was going to ask, how did they treat you?
You know, the one guy I kind of liked is John Fugelsang. He's this guy, he's an actor and a left-winger, and he was making some of the stupidest arguments I've ever heard, but at least he was sort of polite and nice and fine. Some of them were vicious. I mean, this one guy, his name's Sklar or something. I guess he's a YouTuber, comedian. He immediately, the minute he couldn't refute what I was saying, he just called me a racist.
Really?
Of course. And as Ann Coulter famously told me in high school, when a liberal calls you a racist, you know you've won the argument.
Yeah.
And they couldn't answer anything. They were just, all they could go off of were these little cheap talking points that change now every day. This guy Sklar in the comedy panel started attacking Donald Trump over Saudi Arabia, over having business interests in Saudi Arabia. I said, how much money did the Saudi government give to Hillary Clinton? He couldn't answer. He said, I don't know, because they don't really seem to know very much.
They don't know very much. I've noticed this too. You know, like I've said this for years. Our smart guys are smarter than their smart guys a lot. I mean, when you read the New York Times op-ed page, you are not reading intellectual material. But when you read the Wall Street Journal op-ed page, you are. I mean, that is a big difference. And is it not only also, our smart women are prettier, and our pretty women are smarter. That's the other.
That is, I'm going to make that my Twitter bio. That is so true and insightful. You know, and the thing with these other guys is they were making shallow arguments, that's fine. And then you would refute the shallow argument, but you know, it takes a little bit of knowledge and context to know when you've been refuted.
Yes.
To actually see that, you know, all shallows are clear, to quote Dr. Johnson. And I found these guys didn't even have that, or they were just unwilling to even entertain the possibility of you know, a point that they hadn't considered before. And then the third problem was, as you know from our panel, the microphones were a little rough and you couldn't hear each other.
Yeah, that was really bad. I don't think people realize that. You know, it's very hard. I mean, the thing is, when the four of us get together, Jeremy and Ben and you and me, we tend to like gabble at each other and kid around. It was very hard to do because you couldn't hear what the other, and Alicia was there as well, and it was like very hard to do because you couldn't hear what anybody else was saying.
Yeah. That's right. What was your take on? I mean, what you got to be on the nice panels. What's your takeaway?
I mean, you know, it was very funny to be sitting between Ann and Dan. You know, they're both very, very tough characters. I felt like I was between two buzzsaws, you know, and I was just putting in my 2 cents from time to time.
Yeah. Did you speak at all on that?
No, I actually did. I occasionally did. But I will say that it was a little, you know, I don't go out much. You know, I keep to myself, and you know, I hang out with you guys mostly of the time. It was a little shocking to me to see some of these people in person. I mean, one great thing was I bumped into Tucker Carlson. I'd never met him face to face. Lovely, what a nice, charming guy.
Nice
he was great. But then you see Michael Avenatti walk in, and I swear my visceral reaction, my gut reaction was, wait, shouldn't he be in prison? I saw Jennifer Rubin. I thought, where are the white guys with the white coats? You know, like
chasing her around with nets, right?
No, I thought all these people that you talk about on the air, and some of whom I just feel really are, I don't know, not very high-level examples of humanity, walking around free. I wasn't sure how I felt about it. I mean, I'm not sure how I feel about you walking around free.
Well, fair enough. Yeah. And by the way, you're referring to our future president, Michael Avenatti. Show some respect.
CPL. Okay? What does Tucker call him? Creepy porn lawyer.
Creepy porn lawyer, future president.
All right, what's on your show today?
So today we're going to be talking about my strategy on the cold Civil War. Actually, a little bit what we're talking about here in Politicon, because a lot of conservatives want to be conciliatory. Oh, I like this, I like that.
Yeah.
No, my strategy for the cold Civil War is simple. We win and you lose, and we'll analyze it in races around the country.
That is a great subject. Absolutely. I will tune it in. Everyone else should too. Knowles, good to see you. I'm sick of you now, but I'm so happy.